So do you need a mentor? Should you read books? A lot of different opposing views out there. It's hard to know what to believe. I'll just give you this advice. Someone once told me, people lie, but numbers don't. When you're confused, just look at the numbers. So don't listen to what I say. Don't listen to other people's opinions. Do the research for yourself. It's very easy. Just look at the Forbes list. Most successful entrepreneurs. Did they have mentors? Did they read? I'm gonna read you a list. I kept a little list that I found very interesting. I once did the research and it blew me away. It was like, oh my gosh, almost everybody. Bill Gates had Ed Roberts. Oprah Winfrey had Mary Duncan. Steve Jobs had Robert Friedland. Buffett had Benjamin Graham. Michael Jordan had Phil Jackson. Sam Walton had L.S. Robson. Zuckerberg had, of course, talking about this earlier, Steve Jobs. And I can go on and on. Here's a list of people and their mentors. Now, if you change one word, change the word mentor for coach. You know, I sat next to Kobe Bryant at the end of last year for a few games, and I went back in the locker room. He let me come back with him, and I asked him, I recorded a video, and I said, did you have mentors? And he instantly was like, Ty, mentors are the most important thing. And he had a wide variety of mentors. He mentioned Michael Jackson had given him advice. He had one of the CEOs of Disney, all these different people giving him advice. Mark Zuckerberg, when it comes to reading, not only did he have Steve Jobs as a mentor, but he said this. He put a post last year. He started a book club. He said, I'm not reading enough. Now, like I said, I don't know about you, but I'm not as good a mentor, good of entrepreneur as Mark Zuckerberg. If Mark Zuckerberg needs books and mentors, I need 10 times more than him. He's smarter than me. He's more successful than me. Albert Einstein, one of the smartest people in history, had a mentor. Every Thursday, he had lunch, starting as a teenager, with the family of that mentor, and talked, learned math and physics and all types of things. Stephen Hawking had a mentor. I'm not smarter than Albert Einstein or Stephen Hawking. If they need one, I need him even more so. Alexander the Great, one of the great conquerors, he had a mentor. His father, at 15 and a half, hired Aristotle, the great philosopher, and said, I need you to travel with my son. Teach him. Interesting though, Aristotle was mentored by Plato. Plato was mentored by Socrates. You see that, paying it forward? Y Combinator is a group up in the Silicon Valley area. And what they do is they find young, promising entrepreneurs and they bring them in, they give them a little capital, they put them in a building and they give them advice, give them mentorship, point them in direction, motivate them. You see, mentors don't just give you advice, they also motivate you. What companies came from that Y Combinator mentorship incubator idea? Dropbox, Airbnb, Reddit, Stripe, multi-billion-dollar companies coming from this idea. Remember, there's only two ways you learn. From somebody or from what somebody wrote down or recorded. That's it. You don't learn English on your own. You don't learn math just by laying in a bed and go, I'll learn this all on my own. Now, some people say, Ty, what if you only have books and mentors, but you don't put in the work? Well, of course you got to put in the work. If you lock yourself in a basement and just read and just watch YouTube videos of mentors, that's not going to help you. But I'll tell you this, if you just work hard and forget to work smart, you're not going to accomplish much either. Who works harder? Day laborers or Steve Jobs or Elon Musk? Now, we need day laborers. I'm not looking down on them, but I'm saying this. If you talk about who accomplishes more, it's not just the people who work hard, it's the people who work smart. If you get out of an airplane, you're at the airport, and you're in a city you've never been in, use GPS. That navigation will shorten the time. Sure, you could just work hard and drive around and try to find it on your own, but why not use a GPS? Why not do it the short way? The great Nikola Tesla had mentors. Bill Gates goes on reading vacations. You know what Arnold Schwarzenegger told me? And Elon Musk, I'm gonna tell you two stories that I've heard, but I like to hear things straight from the mouth of great people. That's why I go and find these people. It's not to be able to name drop and say, oh, I'm with celebrities. It's to get the truth from them. The media often lies. People lie. I talked to Arnold Schwarzenegger. I was in his kitchen. Arnold, what's a turning point in your career as a bodybuilder? And he said, well, I couldn't get my calves big. I had the rest of my body big, but I couldn't get my calves big. And I heard about this guy who had big calves down in South Africa. His name was Reg Park. I got on an airplane and I flew down to him. And I said, what am I doing wrong? And he said, let me see you work out. They went to the gym together and Reg Park went on the calf machine and put on 900 pounds. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, the light bulb went off. He said, I'm doing too many reps. I'm only lifting like 400 pounds. Reg Park said, put those heavy weight on. Change up your game. Just like Bruce Lee was mentored by Ip Man, Arnold Schwarzenegger was mentored by Reg Park. And Arnold told me my calves got so big, the media started saying I had calf implants, but I didn't. My success was magnified. It became so big, people didn't even believe it because he had that mentor, Reg Park. People lie, opinions lie, but numbers don't. Look at the numbers for yourself. Go through the Forbes list. Go to the top. Jeff Bezos started Amazon. Started a book company, ironically enough. But he reads books so much, he has one book. It's the story of Sam Walton, who's a virtual mentor, threw a book to him that the pages are tattered. He needs books. If he needs mentors, I need more so. Change the conversation from mentors to coaches. Then you become kind of silly when you go, oh, you don't need a coach. You know what Elon Musk told me? I said, Elon, how did you start SpaceX? You didn't have any experience with spaceships. Or he said, oh, I just read a lot of books. But it's the same effect. An author of the book was the mentor. Because I've heard many people say this. And you might have heard it growing up. Oh, you just become book smart. Just do stuff. Just work hard. Well, a lot of people work hard and aren't successful. A lot of people work hard and aren't successful. A lot of people work hard and never make more than 50 grand their whole life. There's nothing wrong. Not everybody has to try to be Steve Jobs. Not everyone has to try to be Albert Einstein. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying I want to learn from people who did big things. You choose who you want to learn from. I go straight to the top. Martin Luther King Jr. had a mentor. Gandhi had a mentor. Oprah Winfrey had Maya Angelou, the poet. Everybody, you go through history. Great people had great mentors. Great people read. Mark Cuban was over at my house, the billionaire, the Shark Tank billionaire. And I said, do you read much, Mark? He said, you know what, Ty? The reason I got a private jet waiting down at LAX for me is so when I get in it, I can just catch up on reading without anybody disturbing me. He keeps a $50 million jet hanging around just so he could read more. Warren Buffett gets on a plane, they say nobody talks, he just reads. But works smart. You need tools, you need leverage. What makes Bill Gates the 16-time richest man in the world? Well, he goes on reading vacations. His blog is all about books. And one thing he said that I found fascinating, he said, you know, I'm kind of lazy. I try to find ways to do it smarter than most people. And sure, he put in the hours. It's a necessity to put in the hours, but the goal isn't to put in the hours. The goal is to work less and do more. The goal is to work half as much and get twice the results. That comes from the leverage of intelligence. That's what can make you great. Find great people, read more, and just split test it. If you don't believe me, test it for yourself. Find an amazing book. At the end of it, if it doesn't, read a few of them. If it doesn't help you, stop reading. Different people have different ways of learning. But 9 out of 10 people who do big things either had mentors or read books. Using mentors, using books increases the odds of success. It's not a guarantee because you still got to put in the work. You still must execute. If they needed it, I need it more. If you don't need it, if you're better than them, I'd have to question your humility. Isaac Newton said, if I'm great, it's because I stand on the shoulders of giants. If you think you don't need shoulders of giants, I can guess how much money is going to be in your bank account soon.